Well, I'm joined now by Liam Donovan, former Republican Party strategist. He previously worked for the National Republican Senatorial Committee, helping Republican senators campaign across 20 states. Liam, welcome here to the programme. When is this going to end? The president holed up in the White House, firing people who tell the truth, losing election challenge after election challenge in the courts?
Well, I think you said it right there. The president doesn't control his own destiny here. He's very much at the mercy of the courts and of the voters. And so he's controlling the only thing he can, his Twitter account and the people who work at his pleasure. So it's not at all surprising that he would, he's very invested in this narrative that the election was taken from him or stolen from him. So it's not at all surprising that he couldn't abide that being undermined by someone under his charge. But it's unfortunate. And I think what you have to hope is that Republicans sort of wake up to some of these things that are getting a little bit off the rails.
You say it's unfortunate. I'll come back to other Republicans in a moment. But on that firing, I mean, Chris Krebs' department ran a website debunking election misinformation, much of it amplified by his own president. I mean, you simply couldn't make it up, could you?
It's sort of a self-licking ice cream cone there. He's very much, his entire job was to knock down the sorts of conspiracies the president chooses to marinate in and is very invested in again. So, yeah, it was not a sustainable situation. And so it's not surprising that he met this kind of end.
How nervous are you about this president endangering America, not cooperating with the transition team on coronavirus, prematurely perhaps bringing troops out of conflict zones like Iraq and Afghanistan, all of these things, even Mitch McConnell voicing his concern about that Afghanistan move?
Yeah, this is a really important period, and I think this is always a fraught period in any transition, particularly now with a pandemic going on, where that sort of transition does need to be done seamlessly. The information needs to be shared without sort of fear or prejudice, and so I think it is a dicey moment for the country. I hope that as the elections are certified, we can move past this, but you'd hope that the people who are inside can be cooperative with those beachhead and Biden transition team folks that are heading in very shortly here.
Two final questions. The first, Donald Trump has indicated again, apparently, that he's considering a bid for 2024. Do you think that Donald Trump has effectively taken the Republican Party hostage, or are they happy to go along with this?
First place and ultimately the presidency, because he spoke to a large chunk of that base, perhaps not the entire one, but he made believers out of people by winning when they said he couldn't. He's done it sort of a second time by overperforming where he was supposed to get walloped. And so I think this is, for better or for worse, his party as long as he wants it. I think he is unfortunately radicalizing a significant chunk of that base by telling them lies that they are internalizing. So I think the fact is we can't talk about the Republican Party after Trump because he's still here. And at least for the next 60 days, it is very much up to him what the immediate future of the Republican Party looks like.
Final quick question on Georgia, because the Secretary of State only said overnight that actually by discouraging mail-in voters, he probably lost about 10,000 votes, probably depressed his own base and therefore lost the state of Georgia. So totally counterproductive. They have these two vital Senate races coming up in January. Your prediction about how those are going to go?
I'll tell you what, 12 years ago, I worked for the Republican Senatorial Committee, as you mentioned, and we had a very similar election. The difference being that Democrats came close but did not get over the hump. In this case, Biden won the state of Georgia while Republican senators were able to get more votes in both of those races. The question is who can reconstitute that electorate. And so Democrats have to think, we won this state, we have Democratic votes here, but they need to take what was an anti-Trump plurality and turn that into a pro-Biden majority. And I think that's tough sledding. The question here is, does the president allow this to happen and let the state that is still very, very faintly red continue to be that way? With him off the ballot, I think it is a better, it's a double-edged sword in that his base might not come out, but I don't think that the suburbs that have tipped the state toward Democrats will come out in such a way. So I like Republicans, but I don't think anybody can take anything for granted.
All right, Liam Donovan, thanks so much for joining us on the programme. Thanks for your time.